Maya had one rule about sharing beds: she simply didn't, until a mountain storm forced her to choose between freezing alone or trusting the one person who could melt all her carefully built walls. Maya had always been different from her friends when it came to personal space. While her college friends would crash at each other's places without thinking twice, sharing couches and floors during late-night study sessions, Maya always found an excuse to go home to her own bed. She wasn't antisocial or unfriendly. She just needed her own space to feel comfortable. Now at 28, working as a marketing coordinator at a busy downtown agency, Maya had turned her need for personal space into an art form. Her apartment was her sanctuary, organized exactly how she liked it. Every pillow had its place. Every book stood in perfect order on her shelves. When friends visited, they often joked that her place looked like it belonged in a magazine. "You're too neat for your own good," her best friend Lisa would tease. "When was the last time you had anyone stay over?" Maya would just shrug and change the subject. The truth was, she couldn't remember the last time she'd shared her space with anyone overnight. The idea made her stomach flutter with anxiety she couldn't quite explain. So when Lisa announced their annual college reunion weekend, Maya's first reaction was to figure out the sleeping arrangements. The group had been meeting every year since graduation, rotating between different locations. This year, their friend Jake had offered his family's cabin in the mountains about 3 hours from the city. "It'll be perfect," Jake had said during their video call planning session. "The cabin has 4 bedrooms, plenty of space for everyone. We can hike, play board games, catch up properly without the distractions of the city." Maya felt herself relaxing until Jake started listing who would room with whom. "The master bedroom has a king bed, so 2 people can share easily. The other rooms have doubles." "Wait," Maya interrupted, her heart rate picking up. "I'll need my own room." The video call went quiet for a moment. She could see her 6 college friends looking at her through their little squares on the screen. "Maya, there are 7 of us in 4 rooms," Lisa said gently. "Someone has to share." "I know, and I'm sorry, but I just can't." Maya felt her cheeks getting warm. "I don't share beds. I'm a really restless sleeper and I toss and turn all night. Trust me, you don't want to room with me." It wasn't entirely a lie. She did move around in her sleep. But the real reason went much deeper than that. Sharing a bed meant vulnerability, meant letting someone see her without her usual careful control. The thought made her feel exposed in a way she couldn't handle. "We'll figure something out," Jake said quickly, sensing her discomfort. "Maybe someone can take the couch in the living room." "I can do that," offered Ryan, their friend who'd played football in college and still maintained his laid-back attitude about everything. But then Alex spoke up. Alex Chen, the quiet one of their group who'd studied architecture and now designed houses for a living. The one Maya had been secretly watching since their sophomore year, though she'd never admitted it to anyone, not even Lisa. "Ryan shouldn't have to sleep on the couch just because of room arrangements," Alex said in his calm, thoughtful way. "I don't mind taking it." Maya felt a pang of guilt mixed with something else she didn't want to name. Alex was always doing things like this, putting other people's comfort before his own. In college, he'd been the one to stay up all night helping struggling classmates with their projects, never asking for anything in return. "Actually, the couch in the living room isn't that comfortable," Jake admitted. "It's more of a love seat, really. Definitely too short for anyone over 5.5 feet. Maya watched Alex on the screen, noticing the way he ran his hand through his dark hair when he was thinking, a gesture she'd observed countless times over the years. At 6 feet tall, he'd be uncomfortable on a too-short couch. "Look, don't worry about it," Maya said quickly. "I'll book a hotel room in town, problem solved." "No way," Lisa jumped in. "This is supposed to be a group weekend. You're not staying at some random hotel while we're all at the cabin together." "But I really can't share a room with anyone," Maya insisted, feeling trapped between her need for space and her desire to be part of the group. "We'll work it out when we get there," Jake said diplomatically. "The cabin's bigger than you think. There might be options we haven't considered." After they ended the call, Maya sat in her perfectly organized apartment, staring at her phone. She wanted to go on the trip. She missed her college friends and looked forward to their annual reunions all year. But the thought of sharing a bed with someone made her chest feel tight. She thought about Alex volunteering to take the uncomfortable couch and felt that familiar flutter in her stomach that had nothing to do with anxiety about sleeping arrangements, and everything to do with feelings she'd been hiding for almost a decade. Maya had developed her crush on Alex during a group study session in their junior year. While everyone else had been stressed about their upcoming exams, Alex had quietly helped each person with their different subjects, never making anyone feel stupid for not understanding something. He'd explained architectural concepts to her with such patience, drawing little diagrams on napkins until she finally grasped the material. But Maya had never said anything about her feelings. Alex dated occasionally, though never anyone from their friend group. He was the kind of person who kept his romantic life private, which only made Maya more convinced that someone like her, with all her quirks and need for personal space, wouldn't interest him anyway. The week leading up to the trip, Maya found herself changing her mind about going at least 5 times. She'd pack her bag, then unpack it. She'd convince herself she was being silly about the whole bed-sharing thing, then remember how panicked she felt at the mere thought of it. Finally, on Thursday night before the Friday departure, Lisa called her. "You're spiraling, aren't you?" Lisa said without preamble. "I don't know what you mean," Maya replied, though she was sitting on her couch surrounded by clothes she'd pulled out of her suitcase for the 3rd time. "Maya, I've known you for 10 years. You're overthinking this whole sleeping situation." Maya sighed. "I just really can't share a bed with someone, Lisa. I know it seems silly, but it makes me feel vulnerable," Lisa supplied gently. "Yeah," Maya admitted quietly. "I get it. But you know what? Maybe it's time to push yourself a little. We're all adults now and nobody's going to judge you for being human. What if I can't sleep at all? What if I have a panic attack? Then we'll deal with it. That's what friends do." Maya was quiet for a long moment, twisting the hem of her shirt between her fingers. "Besides," Lisa added, "didn't you say Alex volunteered to take the couch? He's probably the most considerate person in our entire group. If you had to share a space with anyone, he'd be the safest choice." Maya's heart did that fluttering thing again. "Lisa, I'm just saying, he's a good guy, and maybe, just maybe, this could be a chance to finally tell him how you feel." "I don't know what you're talking about," Maya said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Sure you don't," Lisa laughed. "Pack your bag, Maya. Come on this trip. Whatever happens with the sleeping arrangements, we'll figure it out together." After they hung up, Maya looked at her half-packed suitcase and made a decision. She was going on this trip. She'd spent too many years letting her fears keep her from experiences, from connections, from possibilities. Even if she had to share a room with someone, even if it made her uncomfortable, she wasn't going to let anxiety control her choices anymore. She finished packing, adding an extra blanket and her favorite pillow for comfort. Tomorrow, she'd drive up to the mountains with her friends, and whatever happened with the sleeping arrangements, she'd handle it. What Maya didn't know was that the weekend would challenge everything she thought she knew about herself, her boundaries, and what it meant to truly connect with another person. Friday afternoon arrived with clear skies and perfect weather for a mountain getaway. Maya drove her small blue car up the winding mountain roads, following the directions Jake had sent to the group chat. Her stomach had butterflies, but she kept reminding herself of Lisa's words about pushing her comfort zone. The cabin appeared around a bend in the road like something from a postcard. It was bigger than she'd imagined, with a wraparound porch and large windows that reflected the surrounding pine trees. Jake's family had clearly put a lot of love into maintaining this place over the years. Maya pulled into the gravel driveway behind 2 other cars she recognized. Ryan's old pickup truck and Lisa's red sedan were already there. As she grabbed her overnight bag from the back seat, she heard familiar voices coming from inside the cabin. "Maya's here," Lisa called out as the screen door opened. She bounced down the porch steps, her blonde hair tied up in a messy bun, wearing the kind of casual clothes that somehow always looked put together on her. "This place is incredible," Maya said, accepting Lisa's hug. Jake wasn't kidding about it being spacious. "Wait until you see inside. There's a huge stone fireplace and the kitchen has everything we could possibly need." Lisa grabbed Maya's other bag without being asked. "Come on, everyone's already claimed spots," and started unpacking. Inside, the cabin felt even more welcoming. The living room had comfortable-looking furniture arranged around a massive fireplace made of local stone. Large windows on 2 walls let in plenty of natural light, and Maya could see a deck that overlooked the valley below. Maya, Jake appeared from what looked like the kitchen, wearing an apron that said Grill Master and carrying a wooden spoon. Perfect timing. I'm testing my famous chili recipe for tonight. It smells amazing, Maya said, and it really did. The whole cabin had that perfect vacation smell of wood and good food cooking. Ryan emerged from a hallway, carrying what looked like fishing equipment. Hey there, city girl. Ready for some mountain air? As ready as I'll ever be, Maya laughed. Ryan had been calling her city girl since college when he'd discovered she'd never been camping and had no idea how to start a fire. Where is everyone else? Maya asked, noticing the cabin felt less crowded than expected. Tom and Jessica are still driving up from the coast, Jake explained. They hit traffic leaving the city. Should be here in about an hour. Maya nodded, then realized someone was missing from the current group. What about Alex? He's out back, actually, Lisa said with what Maya thought might be a knowing smile. Something about checking the stability of the deck railing. You know how he is about structural safety. Through the large back windows, Maya could see Alex crouched down examining something near the deck posts. He was wearing a dark green sweater that she'd never seen before, and his hair looked slightly messy from the mountain wind. Maya felt that familiar flutter in her chest. So, Jake said, wiping his hands on his apron, let's talk sleeping arrangements before Tom and Jessica get here. Maya's stomach tightened. She'd been dreading this conversation since deciding to come on the trip. I measured all the rooms this morning, Jake continued. The master bedroom definitely has the most space and the most comfortable mattress. The other 3 rooms are smaller but perfectly fine for 1 or 2 people. And the couch situation? Lisa asked, though Maya noticed she was watching Maya's face carefully. Yeah, about that, Jake said, running a hand through his sandy hair. I was wrong about the living room couch. It actually pulls out into a pretty decent bed. So that's definitely an option for someone. Maya felt a little relief. Maybe this wouldn't be as complicated as she'd thought. The only thing is, Jake continued, we might have a heating issue tonight. What kind of heating issue? Ryan asked, setting down his fishing gear. Well, I called my dad this morning to check on a few things about the cabin, and he mentioned that the furnace has been acting up lately. It works, but not great. The bedrooms at the back of the cabin stay pretty cold at night. Maya's relief started to evaporate. How cold are we talking? Probably not freezing, but definitely not comfortable for sleeping. The only room that stays really warm is the master bedroom because it has the big fireplace. As if on cue, Alex came through the back door, stamping his feet on the mat. Everything looks good out there, he said. Then noticed the serious expressions on everyone's faces. What's going on? Jake explained the heating situation while Alex listened, nodding thoughtfully. Maya found herself watching the way Alex's eyebrows drew together when he was concentrating, an expression she'd seen countless times during their college study sessions. So basically, Lisa summarized, if we want to be warm tonight, we need to figure out who's sleeping in the master bedroom. And it has to be at least 2 people, Jake added, because the room is huge and one person wouldn't generate enough body heat to stay comfortable, even with the fireplace going. Maya felt her carefully laid plans crumbling around her. She looked around at her friends, all of whom were looking back at her with varying degrees of sympathy and concern. Look, she started, I know I said I couldn't share a bed, but I don't want to make this complicated for everyone else. Maybe I should just drive back to the city tonight and come back tomorrow morning. Absolutely not, Ryan said immediately. This is supposed to be a group weekend. Ryan's right, Alex said quietly. His voice had that calm quality that always made Maya feel like everything might actually be okay. We'll figure something out. What if, Lisa said slowly, Maya and Alex take the master bedroom? Maya's heart started pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. Lisa, think about it, Lisa continued, either not noticing Maya's panic or choosing to ignore it. Alex is the most respectful guy we know. Maya, you'd feel safe with him. And Alex, you wouldn't make Maya uncomfortable, right? Alex looked at Maya with those thoughtful dark eyes of his. Of course not. But only if Maya's okay with it. Maya opened her mouth to say no, to insist she'd rather freeze in one of the back bedrooms. But something stopped her. Maybe it was the way Alex was looking at her. Not with pity or frustration, but with genuine concern for her comfort. Maybe it was Lisa's words echoing in her head about pushing her comfort zone. Maya started, then stopped. Everyone was waiting for her answer, but not in a pushy way. They were giving her space to decide. We could put pillows down the middle of the bed, Alex suggested gently, like a barrier. And I promise I'm a very still sleeper. The fact that he'd thought of a solution that might help her feel more comfortable made Maya's chest feel warm in a way that had nothing to do with the fireplace. Okay, she heard herself saying. Okay, we can try that. Lisa's face lit up with a smile that was definitely too bright to be innocent. Perfect. That settled then. Just then, car doors slammed outside and Tom's voice carried through the windows. Sorry we're late. Traffic was a nightmare. As Jake went to greet the latest arrivals, Maya found herself standing awkwardly near the fireplace, suddenly very aware that she'd just agreed to spend the night in the same bed as Alex Chen. The same Alex Chen she'd been secretly attracted to for nearly 10 years. Alex approached her while the others were busy with Tom and Jessica's arrival. Maya, he said quietly, if you change your mind about this, it's completely fine. I can sleep in one of the cold rooms. I don't mind. Maya looked up at him, taking in the genuine concern in his expression. This was why she'd developed feelings for him in the first place. Alex never made her feel like her quirks and anxieties were inconvenient or strange. He just accepted them and worked around them. No, she said, surprised by how steady her voice sounded. No, it's okay. You're right about the pillows. We can make it work. Alex smiled, and Maya felt that flutter in her stomach turn into something stronger, something that felt almost like anticipation instead of fear. What she didn't know was that the mountain weather was about to change everything, turning her carefully planned comfort zone into something completely unexpected. The evening started perfectly. Jake's chili turned out to be as good as he'd promised, and the group fell into their familiar rhythm of college friends who genuinely enjoyed each other's company. They played board games around the large wooden dining table while rain began pattering against the cabin windows. When did rain start? Jessica asked, looking up from the card game they were playing. She was Tom's girlfriend of 2 years and had fit seamlessly into their group from the first time Tom brought her to one of their gatherings. About an hour ago, Tom replied, glancing toward the windows. Sounds like it's getting heavier. Maya hadn't really noticed the rain because she'd been too focused on trying not to think about the sleeping arrangements later. Every time she caught Alex looking at her across the table, her stomach did that fluttering thing, and she had to remind herself to concentrate on the game. Rain's fine, Ryan said, laying down his cards with a satisfied grin. Makes it feel more cozy in here. But as the evening wore on, the rain got stronger. By 9 o'clock, it was coming down in sheets, drumming against the roof so loudly they had to raise their voices to hear each other over it. This is more than just rain, Alex said, standing up to peer out the large front windows. This looks like a real storm. Jake joined him at the window, frowning at what he saw outside. Dad did mention something about possible weather this weekend, but I thought he meant light showers. As if the mountain had heard him, a flash of lightning lit up the sky, followed immediately by a crash of thunder that made everyone jump. Okay, that was close, Lisa said, unconsciously moving closer to the fireplace. Should we be worried about this? Maya asked, trying to keep the anxiety out of her voice. She was fine with rain, but storms in the mountains felt different, more intense than city weather. The cabin's been through plenty of storms, Jake said, though he didn't move away from the window. It's built solid. We should be fine. Another flash of lightning, another boom of thunder, this one even closer than the last. Maybe we should think about getting ready for bed soon, Jessica suggested. If the power goes out, we'll want to have everything sorted before then. As if she'd summoned it with her words. The lights flickered once, twice, then went out completely. Well, that's not ominous at all, Tom said in the sudden darkness. Maya felt her heart rate pick up. She wasn't afraid of the dark exactly, but being in an unfamiliar place without power made her feel vulnerable in a way she didn't like. It's okay. Jake's voice came from somewhere near the windows. There are flashlights and candles in the kitchen, and we've got the fireplace for light and heat. Alex's voice came from much closer to Maya than she'd expected. Are you okay? He asked quietly. Yeah, she managed, though her voice came out smaller than she'd intended. She heard movement around the cabin as people fumbled for their phones to use as flashlights. Within a few minutes, Jake had found the emergency supplies and distributed flashlights and battery-powered lanterns around the main room. Good news is the fireplace doesn't need electricity, Ryan said, already adding more logs to the fire. We'll have plenty of heat and light in here. What about the bedrooms? Lisa asked. and Maya's stomach dropped as she remembered the sleeping arrangements. Jake checked the back hallway with his flashlight. It's pretty cold back there already, and without the heating system running at all, it's going to get a lot worse. How much worse? Maya asked, though she wasn't sure she wanted to know the answer. Cold enough that it wouldn't be safe to sleep back there, Alex said, returning from his own investigation of the cabin. The temperature's dropping fast with this storm. Maya felt trapped between her fear of sharing space and her fear of being cold and uncomfortable all night. But before she could spiral into worry, Jake spoke up with a practical solution. Look, the master bedroom with the fireplace is definitely our best option for staying warm and safe tonight. But here's the thing. It's going to take more than 2 people to keep that big room warm enough. What do you mean? Jessica asked. I mean, we might all need to camp out in there together, Jake said, like a big sleepover. We can drag mattresses and blankets from the other rooms. Maya felt a wave of panic. Sharing a bed with Alex had been scary enough. The idea of sleeping in the same room as all 7 of her friends felt overwhelming. Actually, Alex said thoughtfully, that might not be necessary. Everyone turned to look at him in the flickering firelight. The room is big, but not that big. Too many people and we'll just be uncomfortable and nobody will sleep well. He paused, glancing at Maya. What if just Maya and I take the master bedroom as planned, but we set up a kind of base camp in there for everyone else if needed? What do you mean? Tom asked. I mean, we keep the connecting door open, keep the fire going strong, and if anyone gets too cold in their rooms, they can come warm up by our fireplace until they're comfortable enough to go back to bed. Maya felt a rush of gratitude toward Alex for finding a middle ground that didn't leave her feeling completely exposed while still keeping everyone safe and warm. That could work, Lisa said, and Maya noticed she was trying not to smile too obviously. Are you sure you're okay with that, Maya? Jessica asked kindly. It's going to be a long night with this storm. Maya looked around at her friends in the lantern light. These were people who had known her for years, who understood her quirks and respected her boundaries. Alex was offering to share not just his space but his comfort for everyone's well-being. Yes, she said, surprised by how sure she sounded. That sounds like a good plan. The next hour was spent preparing for their unusual night. Jake and Ryan dragged extra blankets and pillows into the master bedroom, while Tom and Jessica gathered snacks and water bottles in case anyone got hungry during the night. Lisa helped Maya move her things into the master bedroom, chattering about how cozy everything was going to be. But Maya could see right through Lisa's cheerful demeanor. Her best friend was practically vibrating with excitement about Maya and Alex sharing a room, even under these circumstances. Stop looking so pleased with yourself, Maya whispered as they arranged her things near the large bed. I have no idea what you're talking about, Lisa replied innocently. I'm just happy we found a solution that works for everyone. Lisa. Okay, fine. But Maya, this could be exactly what you need. A chance to spend real time with Alex without the pressure of it being a date or anything official. Maya felt her cheeks warming. It's not like that. We're just sharing a room because of the weather. Lisa said, clearly not buying it. Just try to relax, okay? Alex is a good guy. You're safe with him. By the time they'd finished setting up, it was nearly 11 o'clock and the storm was still raging outside. The master bedroom looked like a cozy fortress with the fireplace crackling and extra lanterns placed strategically around the room. Alex had indeed built a wall of pillows down the center of the large bed, creating 2 distinct spaces. This should work well, he said, testing the stability of his pillow construction. You'll have plenty of room on your side. Maya nodded, grateful for his thoughtfulness but also acutely aware that they were about to spend the night just a few feet from each other. One by one, their friends headed off to their respective cold rooms with promises to come warm up by the fire if needed. Lisa gave Maya an encouraging squeeze on the shoulder before disappearing into the hallway. And then it was just Maya and Alex in the warm, fire-lit room, with the storm raging outside and the reality of their situation settling over them both. I'll just get changed in the bathroom, Maya said quickly, grabbing her pajamas and escaping before the awkwardness could build any further. When she returned, Alex had already changed into a t-shirt and comfortable pants and was adding another log to the fire. Should stay warm for a few hours now, he said, then gestured to the bed. Which side do you prefer? Maya looked at the carefully arranged pillows and felt a mix of gratitude and something else she couldn't quite name. Alex had thought of everything to make her comfortable. But standing there in her pajamas with the storm outside and the fire casting dancing shadows on the walls, she realized her biggest challenge might not be sharing space with Alex. It might be hiding how much she wanted to. Maya chose the side of the bed closest to the bathroom, thinking it might make her feel less trapped. Alex took the other side without comment, and they both settled under their respective blankets with the wall of pillows between them, like a soft barrier. For the first hour, Maya lay perfectly still, hyper-aware of every sound Alex made. She could hear him breathing, could sense when he shifted position, could tell when he was trying to be extra quiet for her benefit. The storm continued outside, rain hitting the windows and thunder rolling across the mountains. "Maya?" Alex's voice came softly through the darkness. "Are you awake?" "Yeah," she whispered back. "The storm's pretty loud. Are you doing okay? With this whole situation, I mean." Maya stared up at the ceiling, watching the shadows from the fireplace dance across the wooden beams. "Better than I thought I would be, actually." It was true. While she was definitely aware of Alex's presence in a way that made her stomach flutter, she didn't feel the panic she'd expected. There was something comforting about having him nearby, especially with the wild weather outside. "That's good," Alex said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. "I was worried you'd be regretting this whole arrangement." "No," Maya said, surprising herself with how honest she was being. "You've been really thoughtful about everything. The pillows keeping the fire going, giving me space. Thank you." "You don't need to thank me for basic consideration," Alex replied, though I have to admit I was nervous about sharing a room with you too. Maya turned her head toward the pillow barrier, curious. "Really? Why?" There was a pause before Alex answered. "I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. I know how important your personal space is to you, and I didn't want you to feel like I was invading that." Maya felt something warm spread through her chest that had nothing to do with the fireplace. The fact that Alex had been thinking about her comfort, had been nervous about making her feel safe, meant more to her than he probably realized. "You're not invading anything," she said quietly. "If anything, you're making this easier." They fell into comfortable silence after that, and Maya actually started to drift off despite the storm. But around 2 in the morning, she woke up shivering. The fire had died down to just glowing embers, and the room temperature had dropped significantly. Maya pulled her blankets tighter around herself, but she was still cold. Really cold. She lay there for a few minutes, hoping she'd warm up on her own, but if anything, she got colder. Her teeth started chattering quietly, and she tried to control it so she wouldn't wake Alex. But Alex was apparently a light sleeper. "Maya?" His voice was alert, concerned. "Are you okay?" "Just a little cold," she managed through her chattering teeth. The fire died down. She heard movement from his side of the bed, then saw his silhouette against the dim glow from the fireplace as he got up. "I'll get it going again," he said, already moving toward the fireplace. Maya watched him crouch down and begin rebuilding the fire, his movements sure and efficient even in the dim light. Within a few minutes, flames were dancing again, but Maya was still shivering under her blankets. "Better?" Alex asked, returning to his side of the bed. "Getting there," Maya said, though she wasn't sure it was true. The fire would warm the room eventually, but right now she felt like the cold had settled into her bones. Alex was quiet for a moment, then said carefully, "Maya, you're still shivering. I can hear your teeth chattering." "I'm fine," she said automatically, the response she always gave when she didn't want to be a bother. "No, you're not fine. You're freezing." Alex's voice was gentle but firm. "Look, I know this is going to sound crazy given your feelings about sharing space, but the fastest way to get warm is shared body heat." Maya's heart started beating faster, and not just from the cold. "Alec, I'm not suggesting anything inappropriate," he said quickly. "I just mean, we could share warmth until you're not freezing anymore. Keep our clothes on, just get warm." Maya lay there shivering, torn between her ingrained need for personal space and the practical reality that she was genuinely cold. Cold enough that she might not be able to sleep at all if something didn't change. "I don't know," she whispered. "What if we compromise?" Alex suggested. "What if I stay on my side but we get rid of some of the pillows between us? Just enough that we can share body heat without actually, Maya considered this. It wasn't the same as cuddling or being intimate. It was practical. Survival almost. "Okay," she said before she could change her mind, "but just until I warm up." She heard Alex moving the pillows, creating a gap in their soft wall while still maintaining some barrier between them. Then she felt the warmth from his body reaching across the small space toward her. Better? He asked. It was better. Noticeably better. But Maya was still shivering. Maya, Alex said after a few minutes, this isn't working fast enough. You're still freezing. He was right. She was still cold, and the shivering was actually making it worse because she couldn't relax enough for her body to warm up. What if? Alex started, then stopped. What? What if we actually shared warmth? Like actually close enough for it to work? Maya's breath caught. I mean you could move closer, just for warmth. I promise I'll be completely respectful. Maya lay there in the dark, weighing her options. She could stay cold and miserable all night, potentially getting sick from being chilled for hours. Or she could trust Alex, trust that he meant what he said about being respectful and actually get warm. Okay, she whispered. She heard Alex move, felt the mattress shift as he repositioned himself. Then very carefully, he moved closer to the middle of the bed. Come here, he said softly. Maya took a shaky breath and scooted toward the center of the bed until she could feel the warmth radiating from Alex's body. But she was still not quite close enough to really benefit from his body heat. Maya, Alex said gently, you need to actually get close for this to work. I promise I won't do anything to make you uncomfortable. Maya closed her eyes and made a decision. She moved closer, close enough that her back was almost touching Alex's chest. The warmth was immediate and wonderful. Is this okay? Alex asked quietly. Yeah, Maya breathed, and she meant it. For the first time in hours, she wasn't shivering. Good, Alex said. Just relax. Try to get some sleep. But Maya couldn't relax. Not because she was uncomfortable, but because being this close to Alex was making her incredibly aware of him in ways she'd tried to ignore for years. She could smell his cologne, could feel the steady rhythm of his breathing, could sense the careful way he was holding himself to make sure he didn't crowd her. Alex, she whispered, thank you for taking care of me tonight. You don't need to thank me, he replied, his voice closer to her ear than she'd expected. I want you to be comfortable and safe. Maya felt something shift inside her chest, some wall she'd been maintaining for years beginning to crack. Here was Alex being patient with her anxieties, respectful of her boundaries, making sure she was warm and comfortable, asking for nothing in return. She turned over slowly, carefully until she was facing him in the dim firelight. They were close enough now that she could see his eyes, could see the concern and kindness in his expression. Alex, she said quietly, I need to tell you something. What is it? Maya took a deep breath, knowing that once she said this, there would be no taking it back. But lying there in his arms, warm and safe while the storm raged outside, she realized she was tired of hiding. I don't really share beds because I'm a restless sleeper, she said. I mean, that's partly true, but it's not the real reason. Alex waited, not pushing her to continue, just listening. The real reason is that sharing a bed with someone feels too intimate, too vulnerable, and I've been afraid of that level of closeness with anyone. She paused, her heart pounding, but especially with you. With me? Alex's voice was soft, surprised. Because I've had feelings for you for years, Maya whispered. Since college. And the idea of sharing space with you, of being close to you like this, scared me because I thought I wouldn't be able to hide how I feel anymore. Alex was quiet for a long moment, and Maya's heart sank. She'd ruined everything. She'd made him uncomfortable, crossed a line she shouldn't have crossed. But then Alex reached up and gently brushed a strand of hair away from her face. Maya, he said quietly, you don't have to hide how you feel. Not from me.
Maya's breath caught at Alex's words.
What do you mean? Alex's hand was still touching her face gently, his thumb brushing across her cheek. I mean, I've been hoping for years that you might feel the same way about me that I feel about you. Maya stared at him in the flickering firelight. Sure, she must have misheard. You have feelings for me? Maya, Alex said with a soft laugh. I've been crazy about you since junior year. Why do you think I volunteered to sleep on the uncomfortable couch? I was hoping maybe we'd end up sharing a room and I'd finally get the courage to tell you how I feel. Maya felt like her whole world was shifting. But you never said anything. You never even hinted, because you always seemed so determined to keep everyone at arm's length. I thought if I told you how I felt, it would ruin our friendship and make you even more closed off. Maya thought about all the years she'd spent hiding her feelings, all the times she'd watched Alex from across rooms and convinced herself he could never be interested in someone like her. "I can't believe we've both been hiding this for so long," she whispered. "Kind of ridiculous, isn't it?" Alex said, his voice warm with affection. "Two supposedly intelligent adults dancing around each other for years." Maya laughed softly, and the sound seemed to break something loose in her chest. Some tightness she'd been carrying for so long she'd forgotten it was there. "So what happens now?" she asked. Alex's hand moved to rest against her neck, his fingers warm against her skin. "Now we stop hiding," he said simply. Maya felt her heart racing as Alex looked at her, really looked at her, without any pretense or careful distance between them. The storm was still raging outside, but inside their warm cocoon by the fireplace everything felt perfectly calm. "Maya," Alex said quietly, "can I kiss you?" Maya's answer was barely a whisper. "Yes." Alex leaned forward slowly, giving her time to change her mind, but Maya didn't want to change her mind. When his lips touched hers, soft and warm and perfect, she felt like she was finally home. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, as if they were both still not quite believing this was really happening. But when Maya responded, when she kissed him back, Alex deepened the kiss and Maya felt herself melting into him completely. When they finally broke apart, Maya was breathing hard and Alex was looking at her with an expression of wonder. "I've wanted to do that for so long," he said. "Me too," Maya admitted. "I can't believe this is real." Alex pulled her closer and Maya discovered that being held by someone she cared about felt nothing like the vulnerability she'd always feared. Instead, it felt like safety, like coming home to a place she'd never known she was looking for. They lay there together, talking quietly about all the moments over the years when they'd almost said something, all the times they'd caught each other looking, all the missed opportunities that had led them to this perfect storm of circumstances. "I used to get so jealous when you'd date other people," Maya confessed. "But I never felt like I had the right to be jealous because I was too scared to tell you how I felt." "I stopped dating anyone seriously about 2 years ago," Alex said. "I kept comparing everyone to you and nobody else ever measured up." Maya felt a warm glow spreading through her chest. "Really? Really? You set an impossible standard. Smart, funny, independent, beautiful." Alex trailed off, then added, "Though I have to say your independence was part of what made this so complicated. I never wanted to be the guy who pushed you past your comfort zone." "But you didn't push," Maya said. "You've been nothing but patient and respectful. Even tonight you made sure I felt safe every step of the way." Alex pressed a kiss to the top of her head. "Because your comfort matters to me. Your feelings matter to me." Maya tilted her face up to look at him. "I think I've been confusing independence with isolation," she said. "I thought needing space meant I couldn't let anyone get close. But being with you like this, it doesn't feel like I'm losing myself. It feels like I'm finding a part of myself I didn't know was missing." "You're not losing anything," Alex agreed. "You're still you. You're just sharing yourself." Maya kissed him again, longer this time. And when they broke apart, she was smiling wider than she had in years. "Lisa is going to be insufferable about this," she said. "She's been trying to push us together for months." Alex laughed. "Lisa's been giving me advice about how to ask you out for the better part of a year. I think she might actually explode with happiness when she finds out." "She knew you liked me. She knew we both liked each other and were being idiots about it," Alex said. "She told me last month that if I didn't make a move soon, she was going to lock us in a closet together." Maya giggled, imagining Lisa's reaction to discovering them together in the morning. "Well, she got her wish. Just took a mountain storm to make it happen. Remind me to send a thank you card to the weather service," Alex said, pulling Maya closer. They talked until the storm finally began to quiet outside, sharing stories and secrets and plans for what they wanted to do together. Once they got back to the city, Maya discovered that Alex had been planning to ask her out for months but kept losing his nerve. Alex learned that Maya had been hoping he'd notice her feelings while simultaneously doing everything she could to hide them. "We're both pretty ridiculous," Maya said as the first hints of dawn began to show through the windows. "Maybe," Alex agreed, "but we figured it out eventually." Maya snuggled closer to Alex, feeling completely content for the first time in years. "I used to think that needing someone meant weakness," she said. "But this doesn't feel weak. It feels like the strongest thing I've ever done." "What changed your mind?" Maya thought about it. You did. The way you've been with me tonight, the way you've always been with me, actually. You've never made me feel like my boundaries were inconvenient or my quirks were problems to solve. You just accepted all of it and found ways to work with me, not against me. Alex was quiet for a moment. Maya? Yeah? I love you. Maya's heart stopped, then started beating double time. She looked up at Alex's face in the early morning light and saw nothing but honesty and hope. I love you too, she whispered. Alex kissed her again, and Maya thought that this must be what people meant when they talked about everything falling into place. All those years of protecting herself, of keeping people at a safe distance, and it turned out that the right person didn't feel like an invasion of her space at all. He felt like home. When the power came back on an hour later and their friends started stirring in the other rooms, Maya and Alex were still curled up together, talking quietly and stealing kisses like teenagers with a secret. So, Alex said as they heard movement in the hallway, what's our story going to be when everyone asks how we slept? Maya grinned, the same mischievous expression she'd worn the night before when she'd announced she didn't share beds. We'll tell them the truth, she said, that I don't share beds, except with you. Alex laughed and kissed her forehead. I can live with being your exception. Maya had spent years thinking that letting someone close meant losing herself. But lying there in Alex's arms as their friends began to wake up and start another day, she realized she'd never been more herself than she was right now. Sometimes the best boundaries were the ones you chose to cross with the right person. And sometimes when you stopped running from intimacy, you discovered that what you'd been afraid of was exactly what you'd been looking for all along.